Hello, everyone. This is Reverend Thomas Harper. I am one of the associate pastors at St. Luke's United Methodist Church in Houston, Texas, and this is In It Together, our daily devotional series where each day we are bringing you video content so that we can stay connected with you during this time of social distancing. We've been going through a lot as a nation, as a society, these past several days. Like so many of you, I have been struggling to find the words, struggling to understand my emotions as I watch everything that has been unfolding in our culture with all of the social upheaval, the racial tensions that have risen again as our society. Beginning with just being horrified with the stories that have come to make national news in Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd. These reminders that, man, we are just not there yet. This is how things are now are not how they're supposed to be. And I think these three stories bring to light just the countless other stories that they're speaking for, and a reminder that there is still so much brokenness in our nation, so much brokenness in our culture, and so much darkness as a society. I struggle to find the words. I think for me, I understand anger. I think for me, I just get a profound sense of sadness. As an Enneagram 9, I'm a peacekeeper. And when I see so much non-peace among us, I feel such a great sadness. And also, I don't presume to make a social commentary on this situation. I don't feel qualified to do that. And so I think I wanted to offer a spiritual commentary on what has been going on the past week or so with the racial injustice, and also just in our society today with everything. I mean, 2020 has been such a year with COVID-19, this pandemic, the economical problems, and now here we are again with race right at the forefront of things that are dividing us. Racism is a sin. It is an evil that does its work well. It is an evil that does its work well because not only is thinking one race better than another completely false in the eyes of God. Racism allows not only for it to be evil in and of itself, but it also allows for us as a people, as a society, as a culture to then argue about what racism is. It not only oppresses and suppresses and destroys, but it also allows for us, when we would normally agree on a situation is wrong and unjust, what happened to George Floyd, it's wrong and unjust. And I would think that 98% of the people who would watch that video would say that is wrong and unjust. And yet the sin of racism still allows for us who agree to argue and be divided. It allows for us to argue our perspectives on systems of oppression. It allows for us to still find ways to hate each other, even though we, in principle, agree with one another. I've been reading a book on spiritual warfare lately by Blake Healy called Indestructible. And he says, in it, spiritual warfare is primarily a battle of perspective. I've been thinking a lot about perspective in 2020. We as a people have been tested. And I think when we're tested, our natural different perspectives on things, which is a natural human thing, you may see one thing one way, I may see it another, have been pushed to the limits and have caused opportunities for further division among us. Like COVID-19, I have watched people argue about where are the levels of safety that are appropriate versus what is it worth our economic problems. I think in COVID-19, everyone would agree that we want to keep everyone safe, but we have many opportunities to argue about the best way to do that. And so when there is more division and there's more arguments, I think darkness is working well. The powerful upheaval of racial tension in our nation again is another opportunity for darkness to do its work well. Certainly, we can see and declare these things as unjust and as racist, and yet we're still not able to be on the same page. You have peaceful protesters who are not doing anything wrong, and then you have another group who is taking advantage of the situation and destroying and looting and allowing another group of people to say that, these protesters aren't doing any good, and it's just again and again and again and again, division and darkness spreading. Perspectives. He says, the battle is whether we choose to see things the way God wants us to see them or the way the enemy wants us to see them. And I don't presume to tell one person's perspective whether or not that's right or not. I can't speak into someone's understanding of how they see the world. I can't quantify someone else's pain. I think that is way far above my pay grade. But here is a lie that I think I will speak into today when it comes to perspective. With everything that we see in our nation, in our country, in our culture these days, it is very easy for us to believe that the darkness is winning. It is very easy for us to lose heart and for us to throw our hands up in the air and say, well, this is never going to get fixed, or, well, I'm not a part of the problem, or, well, I don't choose to hear the other side anymore because I've allowed myself to become deaf to their understanding. That is the lie, I think, friends. The lie that not only that darkness isn't winning, but that darkness even is on the same footing as the light. See, God and evil are not on the same footing. God, light and darkness are not equal players in this. And the lie is that there is even a fight left to be won, because Christ has already won that fight. Yes, there is evidence of darkness among us. I think you don't need me to tell you that. There is still evidence of the darkness. But the darkness is not overpowering the light. All we need is the light to dispel the darkness. This lie that says that the light is losing the battle, or that it's even possible for it to lose. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 12:21. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. John 1:5. And so, friends, again, I don't presume to know the social side of this. And I think spiritually we should hear each other. We should always be quick to listen, slow to speak out in anger. And I think the key to not losing hope in our culture and our society today is to remember that really this is not a battle of light and dark that has not been decided yet. That even though there is darkness, one day the light will extinguish all of this. The nasty systems of oppression and racism will be removed in God's kingdom. The delusions of perspective and misunderstanding and propaganda will be completely brought to light. And so, in the meantime, let us be the light. Let us correctly stand up against systems of injustice and racism. Let us always be open to hear those who we have different perspectives from, and be able to love them anyways, so that we can continue to be a light in the world of darkness. And so, friends, we are praying for our world. We are praying for those who are angry, that they would feel heard. We are praying for those who are afraid, that they would know God's peace. And we are praying that the light would continue to break and dispel the darkness. For the darkness is nothing except the absence of light. Continue to love each other. Love each other well, friends. And we'll see you again soon.